You gonna help me with my video today? Hey guys, so today we're gonna do this in the basement. My DSLR isn't working for some reason, so we're gonna try this with a GoPro. You'll probably notice right away that my ears are a bit smaller than they usually are. 7/8 of an inch smaller, actually, about that much smaller. Where I live, it gets down to like minus 50 degrees Celsius, which is crazy. And when you're moving around playing music and training and these kinds of things, huge earlobes get in the way. When you're driving and you're shoulder checking, and then this stuff is getting caught in your hoodie and falling out, and just day-to-day activities become a pain in the ass with giant lobes. So I've downsized. These are 2 inches. They're made out of maple. They're lightweight and they're really easy to take care of. So that's where I'm at right now, and that's why. So I don't know what I'm going to do with my lobes moving forward. I don't really have any concrete plans for them. I just can't have them that big right now. So we're going to sit at 2 inches for a bit. So I've been doing this for about 13 years, 13 plus years. I've been doing the whole piercing expansion thing. And I'm going to kind of do a video today that just goes over the process of starting out, getting your ears pierced, and getting all the way up to this, if you want to. So when you're getting your ears pierced initially, you should go to a piercer, a reputable piercer, and somebody who's not going to use a piercing gun or anything like that. You don't want to allow somebody to pierce you with a piercing gun, because what that does is the piercing gun basically stabs through your lobe and it just shoves that tissue off to the side. It'd be the equivalent of just taking a needle, like a regular sewing needle, and stabbing it through your earlobe. It's just horrible. So you get it done with a hollow needle. And a hollow needle will take the tissue out of the center of your lobe instead of just pushing it off to the side. So it allows for a really perfect piercing, even healing all the way around, and less scar tissue to deal with later. So stay away from guns and get it done by somebody who's a reputable piercer who's going to do a good job and actually teach you how to take proper care of your piercings. Once your ears have been pierced and you've had them in and you're taking good care of them, and you're keeping yourself and your piercings clean, probably after a few months, you can go out and buy some of these guys. These are called tapers. This one's a 10 gauge. This is a little big, so don't start with this, but buy some metal tapers in like maybe a 12. You can either buy one of them and then buy a pair of jewelry to put in after you're done using the one, or you can wear these. Some people wear these because they don't want to spend money on both jewelry and tapers, so you can buy little O-rings or little rubber bands that go on the front and on the back. And then you can wear them for a little bit. So if you can get your hands on metal tapers, and even the longer ones that are even more gradual, the longer, the more gradual, the better. So use tapers from the time you get the piercing up until around 00 or 0 gauge. I don't recommend going with big tapers because they're dangerous to use. When I had my gear set up at the shop, I was doing piercing all the time. I would keep this out and show people as a joke because I thought it was just so crazy. This is a 7/8 of an inch black acrylic plastic taper. This thing will grab your earlobe, it'll flip it inside out, it'll blow it out, it'll rip it, it'll do all sorts of horrible shit to your lobes. So stay the fuck away from these. Big tapers are a bad idea. Once you get to that 000 size, you can start using tape to upsize. And the way you do that is you go to either a sex shop or you go online and you find bondage tape. This stuff. This is plastic tape that it's almost like a ribbon. It only sticks to itself, and it's not porous, and when you pile it up on your jewelry, you don't get the sticky shit on either side that collects dust and dead skin and all that. So way easier to clean, and it can be a little sharp on the edges of it, but as long as you're aware of what kind of size pieces you're cutting, you can usually minimize that problem. If you have 0 or double zero size jewelry, I don't have any of that sitting in front of me here, but I'll just use this glass one as an example. you can start out with a 0 or double zero size plug or tunnel that's got 2 flares on it, like how this one's kind of like a groove, just like how this metal one is. These are the easiest styles of jewelry to tape. If you have a single flare, like something like this, the tape will either slide off, or you won't be able to get your O-ring back on, and it's just harder to keep them in and take good care of them when it's always sliding out and you're always losing your stuff. So go with double flares and go with maybe 1 to 2 wraps a week. That's a slow enough pace that your body won't recognize the change, and it'll be slow enough, gradual enough process that you can safely get to the size you want to get to. Keep your lobes clean, keep your jewelry clean, clean your hands. Don't play with them when they're freshly stretched, because then you're going to jam all that shit from your hands in between your jewelry and the lobe, and then bacteria will start to spread and it'll just get super angry at you, and that's not fun to deal with. So everything clean all the time, forever. People are gross. Once I became a professional body piercer, I learned right away the human race is disgusting. When it comes to wrapping your jewelry in tape, you don't want to go too much tape. Let's say 00, you'll wrap it twice a week for maybe 2 months. You'll do that, and then you'll get up to 1/2 inch. You take the jewelry out and you buy some actual 1/2 inch jewelry, pop them in, and then you can start taping that new set of jewelry. You don't always want to have just a mountain of tape on a small plug. And especially once you get into the really big sizes and you got a whole mountain of tape layered up on there, it can sometimes slide out from underneath itself and it can fall out, and then you're dealing with tight lobes that are irritated while you're trying to upsize, and that's worst case Ontario. You don't want that.
I just don't know how to express myself sometimes when I need to be properly different. Fuck.
Take your time and do it right the first time, because every time you fuck up, there's a new scar, there's more tissue that's going to be harder to stretch, and you're going to have more problems. So every time you fuck up, it's a setback that's going to make everything more difficult in the future. So stick with a slow pace, stick with materials that are easy to clean, be disciplined, and just let them relax for a long period of time in between sizes. Don't worry about the size of your lobes. Don't spend time caring about those kinds of things. Just make sure they're in good shape, because guys who have lobes this size and they're all blown out and scarred and fucked up looking and they're bleeding or whatever the fuck, it's just, nobody's into that. Nobody's going to respect that. Go slow, keep them clean, use non-porous materials. If you allow yourself to kind of forget about them and you can just kind of go about your day and just keep living your life while your ears are healing all the time, you'll be glad that you took your time. When your ears are freshly stretched and they're still tight around the jewelry, it can be kind of a pain to switch between materials. So as an example, say I have these 2 materials and they're the same size. If this one's got a really smooth round flare on it and this guy has a really sharp metal flare, this will be something that's easy to slip in and out, whereas this guy might actually cut you if you're not careful. So if you don't have ears that can slip into double flare jewelry like this, you gotta let your ears relax for a while longer, because the double flare is big to get over, because the flare is a lot bigger than what your ears actually stretch to, right? If you want to be able to jump back and forth really easily, just go with single flared everything so that you can just skip the flare altogether. It doesn't look as cool in my opinion, but if you can be disciplined and you can wait to get to a double flare with most styles of jewelry, I like the symmetry and I think it looks really cool. And it's a little bit less to worry about. You don't got to worry about losing elastics and shit like that. Do things to make your ears better. Pull blood down into your lobes, massage them, play with them all the time. Throw them up on top of your ears, make your friends laugh, whatever. Play with them lots, and then that'll give you really good circulation. Your ears will have an easier time relaxing around your jewelry. And when you want to eventually start sleeping with them out all the time, it's easier once you've been playing with them for a while. When they're freshly stretched, they'll shrink overnight, and then it's really hard to put jewelry back in the mornings. What I used to do all the time when my ears were like freshly upsized is I would take like 2 sizes or 1 size smaller of like a softer material, like a silicone or something. And in the shower, I'd wear that throughout the duration so that it would loosen up and bring my ears back up to whatever size I'm at. and then you can put your regular jewelry in after your shower. You only have the material that you have. You can't replace these. So once you've damaged them by being impatient 30 times, then you literally won't get to your goal size. Like I had a manager at an old job. He whipped a video game case at my head super hard, and it damaged my lobes so bad that now I literally couldn't even get to my fucking goal size. You got to be careful with the original set that you got. Thankfully, even though mine have been damaged before, I'll let you see them up close here. They're not super bad. Like people in my comments have said they're really thin and stuff, but they're really not that bad considering how tiny my lobes were when I started. And they're not super blown out or anything. They're actually pretty good shape. I have really good circulation, and I don't have it. They're not super uneven looking, or Just a quick recap. No piercing guns. Go with a hollow needle. Take your time with your healing process. Don't rush into stretching. Start off with a 12 gauge taper. Make sure it's made of metal, and the longer the better. Once you've used tapers to get up to your 0 or your 00, then you go out and you purchase your bondage tape or your non-adhesive, non-porous tape, whatever you can find, and you will do 1 or 2 wraps once a week or once every week and a half until you get to your goal size. Remember not to use one piece of jewelry for too long, so you don't want your tape to start falling off. Be slow, be clean, and don't race. Once you're at your goal size, massage your lobes, pull blood into them. Eventually once they're relaxed enough and you've been at your goal size long enough, you'll be able to sleep with them out. And once you can do that, life gets a lot easier. My ears really enjoy the 2-inch size. That's kind of the size where they don't shrink anymore. This is kind of just the general size that my ears like to stay at right now. So this is what I'm wearing. Don't define yourself by your lobes and your tattoos and how many piercings you got. Just be you, and those things are all just kind of a bonus. There's no difference between what we're doing and a person being a bodybuilder or dyeing your hair or shaving your head, whatever. There's no difference in terms of body modification. So if you're somebody who thinks this shit is gross and it's a bad idea, don't watch my videos. I'm not stupid for doing this. You're stupid for wasting your time watching a video about things that you don't like. So don't waste your time on my videos if you're not interested in this kind of thing. This community doesn't deserve your shit. We're just looking for a reliable source of information, so we don't have to sift through the internet for valid information that's safe. So, cheers.